Energylandia, man, this place is killing it. This is a Polish amusement park. It is not that old. However, they are going crazy. Essentially, what is happening is that the Polish government is saying, here, we want you to build up your amusement park. So they're giving them tons of money. So they are adding in a ton of rides. They just built Hyperion. And in 2020, they'll be opening Zadra. This will be Europe's third ever RMC after Wildfire and Untamed going to Walibi Holland. And this thing is going to be great. We knew an RMC was coming and we knew some stats, but we finally know the layout. Essentially what happened is that they held kind of a press conference like setting where they were discussing the future of the park, and they showed everyone in attendance a point of view video. Now that official point of view video isn't really on the internet. You can kind of see it like people who were in the audience filming it, but the quality really isn't the best. However, you know the Coaster Boys, as soon as they see that, someone's got to go out and make a No Limits recreation of it. So this is a pretty good one. This is my buddy Mac. I'll link to his original video in the description of this, but I'm going to kind of use this to walk you guys through the layout so what you can expect. So kind of starting things off, you're going to take this right-hand turn and start ascending up your lift hill. We're looking at a height of 196.8 feet. Almost hypercoaster level. This humongous drop. Think of it kind of like Goliath at Six Flags Great America. If I really had to break down this ride, I would say it is a combination of Goliath and Wildfire. It has some characteristics of both. So you have that massive height, a ginormous drop, and that entire lift structure is actually going to be see-through, kind of like what you have with Wildfire and Goliath. More so Goliath though. Kind of has an arch-like structure. So you drop down, looks super steep. To my knowledge, we don't actually have an angle of descent yet, but just looking at it, I mean, it looks pretty close to vertical. I'd say maybe around 80 degrees. That is where you hit your top speed of 71.5 miles per hour. So it's going really fast. And you actually kind of go into this banked airtime ejector hill, just slightly curved, and that throws you into this massive, I don't even know what this is. It starts off like a bank turn as you're working your way up, but then it curves out at the top. But it's not an Immelman. To me, it doesn't look like it goes upside down, but to me it looks like it curves out and then you drop down, kind of twisting around. Again, really low to the ground. That's when you fly into a 0G stall. And very much like Goliath, this is right using that same lift structure. So if you've ridden Goliath at Six Flags Great America, you can pretty much know what to expect with that element. So you twist out, again, you're laying low to the ground, banking up, and then you go into a wave turn. And to me, this really looks like Wildfires as opposed to lightning rods. Lightning rods looks a lot more sustained. This one kind of twists you out a bit, and you're going to plunge into a tunnel, again, kind of like Wildfire. Go into kind of this S curve, and then you go into this big ejector hill. That'll throw you into an inversion under the lift structure. You bank to the right, and then you kind of go into a few airtime moments in succession. A few of them kind of curving, a few just kind of normal ejector hills. And you are right up against the ground here, twisting around, and then that's when you go into the third inversion, and that is going to be when you hit the brake run. So like I said, 3 inversions. That first element does not look like one to me. We got track length of 4,265 feet, duration just under 2 minutes, and supposedly this is not going to be a wooden roller coaster. It's actually going to be a steel hybrid. Back in a presentation in 2017, they mentioned iBox track, although to me, it's kind of odd. I feel like this really should be a wooden coaster. I'm really not sure if this is going to be a wood coaster or a steel hybrid. If you look in some images, such as this one, it does kind of look like it's iBox track. But it also does kind of look like Goliath's track. Goliath kind of has that reddish color to it. But then if you look in a previous one, the track is actually gray. And it looks much more like wooden track, like Lightning Rod or Wildfire. So I'm just not sure. Just my guess would be it's a wooden coaster because RMC, typically all of the ground up creations are going to be wooden roller coasters. If you look at all the iBox tracks, they're actually all retrofits of previously existing coasters. And because this is going to be a completely new creation, I think it would be a wooden roller coaster. However, if it ends up being a hybrid using iBox track, that would make it the first ever ground up coaster that uses that steel iBox track, meaning this would be a steel hybrid as opposed to a wooden roller coaster. I mean, you have to remember 2020 is a few years from now, so it is still possible that changes could be made. If you remember when Energylandia released their animation of Hyperion, it actually changed a few times. And in past animations with RMC, Alan Schilke likes to kind of twist things around, maybe modify a few elements. Definitely did that with Twisted Cyclone. So I would expect this to be pretty close to the final layout, but I would not be surprised if there are a few minor changes here and there. But to me, when I look over this layout, the big standout moments for me, I think that first element after the drop is going to be really cool. And then that 0G stall, those things are amazing. I think that'll be a really awesome element. And then that wave turn, those things are really sweet. So I think that those are kind of the big ones. There's still going to be lots of airtime. I mean, RMC inversions are always really great. Another thing I like, it's a long ride because, I mean, one of the complaints with Goliath is it feels like a short ride. And then Wildfire has that length. So it really does feel like a mashup between Wildfire and Goliath. Another thing that's pretty cool, they're really designing kind of a little village around this coaster. Really looks medieval. They're going to have fire pits, lots of barrels, lots of just wooden structures. If you look at the fence line, it kind of looks very Invader-like they're building this fortress. I love how many shops they have around here. It looks like they're going to be adding some restaurants, maybe some gift shops. It looks like it's going to be pretty well themed. I don't know about any theming during the ride. It doesn't look like there'll be any, but I think it'll have a really nice station and queue line. We do also have a little bit of a map of what the queue line will be like if you look at this overhead view. It's going to take up a pretty compact amount of space. They're really kind of packing it in, which is something that RMC is very good at. So honestly, I think this looks like a fantastic ride. Last thing I really want to point out is that Zadra may not be the final name. It's kind of a stand-in name. Zadra itself is Polish for the word splinter, which is kind of odd in my opinion. I don't mind the name. I think it'd be fine if they kept it, but it may change. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But I think in conclusion, this looks like a really strong ride. Between this and Hyperion, Energylandia is going to have a phenomenal 1-2 punch. This is not going to be the only coaster to open at Energylandia in 2020. They're also adding a Vekoma launch coaster. We don't really know a ton of information about that. As soon as we get kind of a layout and more stuff to break down, I'll do analysis of it. But this was the one that we really kind of learned about first. And good thing, I mean, between the two opening in 2020, this is definitely the one that I think a lot more people are going to be excited for. It's going to get a lot of people, especially in America, wanting to go out to Poland to ride this thing. So Energylandia, I mean, really up and coming park. It's amazing to me the rate they're expanding. I can't wait for this thing. Hopefully I get to ride it one day. If it's anything like Wildfire or Goliath, then it's going to be a really strong ride. So that's my take on Zadra coming to Energylandia in 2020. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of this ride, if you agree with my points. But of course, you can stay tuned for more analyses here at Coaster Studios, and I'll catch you guys later.